We're live. We are live. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. 4 minutes late. How about that? I'd have been a lot later if Jill hadn't come out and got me. I was completely into what I was doing. And it's a beautiful day out there today. I've been trying to stay away from any distractions when you have a day like today. Today, let's get started. Today's the 21st of May, 2024. It's a very special day. Ooh. Yowza. Somebody just sent me a picture of her pig. This pregnant sow seems to have a vaginal prolapse. Have you dealt with this and what can we do? We will try calling after hours vet, but is there anything we can do? Ooh. Ugly picture. I'm going to have to get back. I'm just going online to do my show. I will call you as soon as I get done, about an hour or so. Period. She'll be fine till then. Okay. So that's why I haven't been distracted today. I've been kind of staying away from it. Okay. So let's see. We're going to talk about Homestead Inspiration. That's how Jill titled this today. But as I've been going about my business today, and with the afterthoughts of the Mitten Homestead Conference that was last weekend, I'd like to talk about developing your homestead intuition. And that might sound a little tree huggerish, but hey, that's what came to me today, and that's where I want to go tonight. That's what I want to do. But before I do that, I want to let you know that pretty quick here, coming up on the 8th, is going to be our Homestead Pastured Poultry class, which is a big seller, and people really enjoy it. We don't have a bunch of people signed up for it, but we're still going to do it. It's on the 8th. That's a Saturday, and we start. Jill, would you chime in and let us know what time we start? I'm drawing a blank right now. I don't think I really know. I'll be here, though, for sure. And what that is we are going to go through pastured poultry operations. And the idea of this class is when you leave Saturday afternoon / evening, depends on how much yakking we do, you could be calling the hatchery and saying, send me some chicks. And in the time before those chicks come, you'll get your brooder together, and then you will start working on your first chicken tractor. You'll have 3 weeks to build it, and then your chicks will be ready to go in, and then you're going to start working on your processing area. And so that's what it's designed to do. I think more and more after this weekend, I really got motivated. The Mitten Homestead was a total success for a first time out. The people that put this together, Tiffany and Mina, I questioned them when I got there. I said, why'd you do this? And yeah, come to find out they're homeschool mothers that are no longer have children at home. And they've got a lot of energy and they're wanting to do good things. They're both kind of into homesteading. Mina is for sure. Oh yeah, good story. The day after, well, I'll get to that in a minute. So it was a Friday, Saturday. We got there Thursday. Me and Jill rented a trailer that was on the side of this little nice river. And it was cold, and we were able to get in there and cold plunge Friday morning. I was sinking too far into the mud, and I just had this terrible feeling that I was going to step on something that was going to go through my foot. And so I didn't go the second day. I can't afford that. I can't afford that injury at all. I just can't afford it. I have too much to do. And I have too much work to do that I believe 150% that is extremely important work to do. Extremely important. And I don't know where that intuition comes from exactly. I can't tell you. I could say, well, because, but I really don't know why I have this sense of urgency and intrigue over this process that I've been doing now for 20 years. I feel like I just started. I feel like I now have a platform that I can work on or within, and tremendous things are coming from it. Maybe I'm delusional. I don't know. If I am, it's fun. So fair enough. I'm going to drink a little Baker's Green Acres water. I've been doing a lot of water today, moving a lot of toxins through my system because we had to eat out when we were gone, and never quite feel quite right when you come back out of that if you've been eating really good. And that's the truth. I mean, we eat really good here. So I got a lot of things. I got a lot of things to talk about. But let me tell you about the Homesteaders Conference. I mean, the Mitten. Remember that, Mitten. Why? Michigan, Mitten, important. It's local. There was people there from here and here and here and here, very within a few hours drive. And real important because the people that I met, I believe I will see them again. And I believe that there was a lot of receptive people that are like, tell me what you know. Tell me what you know. In the past, I would say it was sort of like, oh, show me how to do a golf swing. It was that kind of urgency. It was like, well, I want to get my game together. I want to get my golf game a little, but maybe it's just me, but I felt as though there was an increased level of urgency. I got to present on 2 days. There was a man that was supposed to do chickens, and I got to meet him, and actually I know him. I didn't know that I knew him, but he had a hip replacement, and there was some complications. I'll just leave it there. And so he wasn't able to do it. He wasn't feeling good. He made it to the conference. We talked for quite a while. So I filled in for him on chickens, and I don't do barnyard chickens. I do pastured poultry, which is, let's see, how do I put this? It has a lot more, pastured poultry has a lot more facets to it, in my opinion. No, it does. It just does, right? There's more going on. So I only had an hour. And so you can only really hit the mountaintops. And then we stopped and we says, okay, any questions? And that's when the fireworks began for me, really, because if people were kind of like, well, how many can I have per, little, just, rudimentary questions, then you answer them and you feel good. Okay, we passed the information, but some of the stuff was deep. Some of the questions were deep. These people were beyond, and you can tell that there's a lot of education going on. And I'm not claiming that it all comes from here. I think the internet is full of information about homesteading, traditional farming, and I think that is a good thing. That is a good thing, because the internet has a lot of stuff on it, and a lot of it probably isn't that good. But if people can absorb sustainability, how to sustain their own lives, their own families. I think that is really good for a lot of reasons, a lot of reasons. But I think that is paramount right now. If you said, well, should people learn how to, uh, you know, weld or be pipe fitters? Or I would say, well, it's important. That's a facet. Being a pipe fitter, yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm not going to turn my nose up at it. But the systematic approach to this way of life by pulling in all of this information and then putting it in practice, I think that's paramount. I can't exactly tell you why. And I'm not a big time prepper. I feel like I'm a homestead prepper because I have the seasons that are happening, but I am hearing a lot of things about people having to decide between paying their bills and eating good quality food. I'm hearing a lot of that, right? I saw a chart the other day and looked at the prices of things in 2020 and now the prices of things in 2024. I don't know whose fault it is, but it's reality, right? The prices are really going up on food. I did get some lime today and I was really surprised. It had only gone up $1, from the last time I got it. Last time I got it, it was $5.25 a bag, and today it was $6.50 a bag. So I was good. I was glad to hear that, and I got plenty of it. I got 10 bags. I got 400 pounds, and I was thrilled that it hadn't doubled in price. Fertilizer's really gone up. We don't use it, but the other farmers are really dealing with problems because of that. Hey, I got the doors open. It's kind of warm in here. All right, so I got to present on 2 days, and some of my takeaways from the Mitten Homestead. Now, good on Mina and Tiffany. Good on them for putting this together. But there was something else going on. There was like I said, a sense of urgency, but people came with this intrigue. Like, I'm really into this, and it wasn't the usual crowd. And I'm telling you, one of the things that I noticed is a lot of times when we go to these events, which I do not go to them anymore, and I'm not going to most likely out of the state. It'd have to be worth my while to do it. And I don't think there's enough dollars that somebody could put in front of me to do it. I don't think, I've got to be careful what I say here because I can use dollars because I have things that I want to do. But I think that the real cash, the real gain here is when you're passing information on to folks that are in my state, they're in my community, and they're going to put these things to work. They're going to do these things. I think that's where the real gain is. That's what tickles me. All right, so I'm not sure why that is. I refused payment on this homestead thing because I wanted to show them that I feel like this is important. I do not want you people strapped because you have to pay me. So I refused payment. I don't know how much difference it made. This was at a fairground. It was at the Lake Odessa Fairground. Nice little community. Right in between Grand Rapids, Grand Rapids, and Lansing, right close to in the middle. And let me acknowledge a few people here. I just want to see who's here. This is okay. Keith's with us, right on. International Homesteading, declare homestead. And YouTube sucks. I know who that is. Is that Jack Russell? Is that you? Pat H, greetings from Gill Pier, Michigan. Gills Pier, Michigan. I enjoy these down-to-earth talks. Thanks. Right on, Pat. Bear Up Farm. Good evening, Mark from Bear Up Farm from Arizona. Very busy gathering cows for auction and having my grandkids building a 20-foot by 70-foot greenhouse. Right on, man. Right on. Jack Russum, you old scallywag. Where you been? I thought I said something to hurt your feelings there. Hope not. If I did, I'm sorry. And you'll want to go on bakersgreenacres.com and scroll down. You will find a hurt feelings report and fill that in and submit it so I can throw it away. All right. All right. I'm glad you're with us, pal. I'm glad you're with us. So one thing that I noticed, I'm gonna just hit the high spots here. And I wonder if you could chime in on this, because Beth was there. She was a speaker. And I missed Beth's presentation. I was not even looking at the thing. I was relying on, okay, what are we doing next? And so I was told, this is what we're doing. So that's what I did, I think. And there was a guy that was doing rotational grazing, and he was excellent. His name was Luke. Don't remember his last name. Excellent. I want to get him. I want to get him here for Tribe Day. Tribe Day is basically the same thing. It's just a smaller group of people, and there's the, people stay here, so there's the fellowship aspect of it. Definitely has different flavor, but very similar. And we don't have the facilities that they do, but they didn't have a cafe like we do. They don't have a pool like we do. We got a pool. They didn't have a campfire like we do. So I look at Tribe Day and I say, no, that Tribe Day is a good thing. We're going to do Tribe Day. I don't care if we only have 6 people show up. We're doing Tribe Day, and Jill's gathered up speakers, and it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. Tribe Day starts Friday afternoon. People wheel in here with their campers and tents and stuff and set up the campground or over here on the farm. And then we have a bunch of speakers on Saturday, and we have kind of a big lunch, kill a pig and roast it. We have 4 blocks of instruction, 2 before lunch and 2 after lunch. And then we chill the rest of the night, hope the cows don't get out. And then Sunday, if people choose to stay for that, we have skills sharing day. So if you do something, let's say you own a sawmill and you want to bring it and set it up and have people see you saw out lumber, that's a good thing. I'd never seen it done before, be honest with you. And then it sets this mind to going, But I wonder if Beth noticed what I noticed. I saw an increased number of men there. We're used to seeing the homeschool moms, lots of them, not bad. But this time the men were there, and the men were approaching me and saying, hey, so, and then I will say, so what are you doing? Because I want to know, are they just there because their wives made them come, or are they leading the charge on this? And I ran into several people, I would say 4, 5 that I talked to, young men, and they're leading on this. They're leading their families. They want more for their families. I met another guy that's local. I mean, he's in Ludington, him and his wife, and they were really leaning forward. And they said, hey, can we come to the farm and just see what's going on? And I was like, you sure can. Right. So give them my card, say, hey, just make an appointment, and we'll set some time aside, show you around, see where it goes. There was another fella and his wife, and they asked a lot of questions. They were probably, I'm sure they were younger than me, but close, close. And when I got to talking to them, they were setting up a homestead. They had come out of some sort of position at a big, big pharmaceutical company. Big. I won't mention the name. And they were, well spoken, well dressed, well groomed, and all that stuff. Like they were pros. And they walked away from it, and now they're going to start growing their own food and setting up a homestead lifestyle. That tells me something, folks. That tells me something right there. I mean, I feel the same passion for everyone getting into this, but when I see these middle-aged professionals ditching what they were doing and saying, we're going to bite the bullet and do this, that tells me something, and I get a good feeling. It feels like I got 20 years jump on these guys. And for a minute, that feels like, hey. But then you say, what is that for? That's okay. Get over it, But what can I do now? Now I can pour into these people and things are going to happen. So I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I was excited about the whole thing. I would have liked to, Sunday, said to every one of them, hey, come on up my house. Let me show you what I'm doing. And then we can sit around. But, by the time me and Jill got home Saturday evening, we were pooped. Definitely pooped. I definitely poured out the whole weekend and enjoyed every bit of it. I really did. Yeah, it was good. The trajectory at this point is very good. Okay. So Pasture Poultry's coming up on the 8th, and I want to fill that class. So please put that on your calendar. It's a good place to start. And when you're here at the farm, you get to see the whole shebang. You get to see how everything fits together. There's not enough time for commentary on everything, but you can observe things, and we do have time to talk while we're pulling feathers for sure. And lunch. All right. So that's the next thing that's coming. And then after that, it's going to be in July. And then Tribe Day is on the 12th. No. Yeah. 12th, 13th, 14th. 12th, 13th, 14th. Right after 4th of July. And I'm psyched to do it. I'm psyched now. Anything else that I observed? Oh, there was some real expertise at that conference. There was some real expertise. You saw people that were good presenters, excited about what they were doing. A lot of them were very junior too, and they wanted to do this. They definitely wanted to do this. There's good presenters and there's bad presenters, for sure. Good presenters are helping you to see the vision of what they're doing and the magic in it. If you get a presenter that is basically telling you, it's like, there's a lot of diseases out there, and there's too much to look at, and then for foodborne illness, and then the people are liars, and that President Trump, he sucks. To any of that, I don't think that's good presentation, and I'm not going to allow that here for sure. If people are not passionate about their, well, then we don't need them. I mean, why do you want to do that? I don't want to throw a wet blanket on people's passion for what they're doing, even if they're junior and it's the first time they've seen something, Okay. Outstanding. Well worth what people paid to go there. And we're going to do it again next year. If I get asked to go again next year, I'll be there. I didn't hold anything back. I'll tell you that. I didn't hold anything back. I tell it like it is. Okay. So, what I want to talk about tonight, first, let me tell you my day. Let me tell you what my day was. I think it's important for you to know that this is what we do. Making YouTube stuff like this and a show like this, I'm doing it, but only because I have something to talk about and that I want to pass on, right? I'm not doing this reluctantly, but it's not like I have a show and I'm trying to find content to put in the show. Show doesn't make me any money. It doesn't do any, doesn't, I don't know, as it does spiritually, it does something for me. And that was one of the things that I said about homesteading. It's definitely a spiritual issue, right? If you don't believe that, and I iterated this several times, think about some of the spells that we hear. There ain't no money in farming. There ain't no money in farming. You hear that over and over. Do you ever hear there ain't no money in golfing? There ain't no money in golfing. Ditch that. Don't do that. But you hear it over and over. And if you pick that statement apart, there ain't no money in farming. Is money our total focus? No, it isn't. So if there ain't no money in it, why do it? Why don't they say that about golf? If there ain't no money in it, why you do it? Oh, it's fun. Okay, can this be fun? So that's one of the benefits of doing this. Fun. I had an outstanding day today. Outstanding. There was a couple of rough spots, but overall the process was magical. It was magical. So my day, got up early, got up pretty early, came out, beautiful day. It was cloudy but warm. Sit on the back porch here. We had 2 inches of rain last night, so it's almost like the environment was prepared for me while I was sleeping. Like somebody prepared it. What do you think of this? What do you think of this, man? What do you think? And it drew me out. I had just a pair of gym shorts on and a shirt and no shoes. And I walked out to check the mushrooms. And I could have come straight back. I had a cup of coffee sitting there. But I was drawn out. I wanted to see some other things. I wanted to walk on the ground. I feel like that's a good thing for me. It feels good. My feet on the ground, the wet grass, it felt good. And as I was doing that, the birds were going. The sparrows. We got a lot of sparrows. We got a lot of swallows because I put, I think I got my last count. I have 12 birdhouses that I put up all around. And I believe that they're all loaded with swallows. And they're everywhere, flying around. They're beautiful little birds. And it kind of makes you feel good. I felt good. And then I came up when I finally did my walk around. And I don't do that every day. I think I'm gonna. I came up and I got in the pool. And it made me think, the water's cold, right? The water's cold. I do cold plunging. It's not that cold. There's no ice on it, but it was cold. And I got in and I started thinking about the food that I ate on my last meal yesterday. Started thinking about it and thinking that I've digested all that and all that energy is in me now. And I have a full tank of gas. And then I stayed in the pool for quite a while and really brought my body temperature down, my head and everything. And I got out. And when I got dressed, I had to share how good I felt. And me and Frank were milking. We went out. He was out before me. He got things ready. Excuse me. And we went after it. And I was so preoccupied by this euphoric feeling. You guys are thinking I'm eating mushrooms or something. I'm really not. There's nothing. I'm not taking any hallucinogenics or anything. It's high on life. That I forgot that I don't have any customers for milk on Tuesdays, and we've changed our procedure. So Tuesday milk goes straight into the separator, and we separate out the cream from the milk, from the skim milk. I don't have customers for the skim milk except the pigs. The pigs need protein for sure. And so I had, 3 buckets of skim milk. I filled the calf bottles out of that skim milk. Don't always do that, but today I did. And the rest of it went into containers that I've made, that we pour it in there, and then we add things to it. Like, I was talking to Frank about energy. It's just been on my mind. Like last night I had this meal. My body digested it very well. And if you're digesting very well, same as if your animals are digesting well, by the manure. Good digestion, good on you. That's a little too much information, maybe, but I don't think it should be, because I want my animals healthy. I want me healthy because it houses my spirit, and I need to do things right. Just like not stepping on glass and things like that. I don't want to do that. So, our cows right now are out on full grass. I mean, we're right at the onset of the flush. The flush here usually starts about the 15th of May. We start seeing it. And then by now, 2 inches of rain last night, and it's like the grass is exploding. So the cows can't keep up with it. They eat, they come down, they come up, back up to the house. They lay there. Their bellies are huge, and they're just sitting there chewing their cud, burping. And they're creating some beautiful milk. So that cream that I'm separating from their milk, I should be taking it and putting it right in a safe. It's that valuable. I mean, think about it. Think about it. What that is good for. And then we took that cream today. I made a video about this because we're trying to gather some data on this. And Jill made it into butter. Now, you can go one more. You can make it into ghee. But I like the butter. And I kind of went through the numbers on that. I don't know how accurate they are, but I got 15 gallons of milk this morning. And my cream separator has different settings on it. And it's just a set screw. And I left it set where it was when I took it apart. And I thought, let's try it there. And I got some cream coming out of there so thick. I'm not kidding. You could stand a spoon up in it. I am not kidding. To get it out of the jars, you have to use one of those rubber things, what are those things called? Whatever they're called, to get it out. And it's in the churn for a short period of time, and it's butter. And it is yellow and rich. And I know it's pure. It's as pure as I can get it. I mean, there are some things, the rain coming down, I have no idea what's in it because I don't know what they're spraying in the skies, and that's a reality. But I can't do anything about that. Okay. The skim milk, I was telling Frank about this. The skim milk has energy in it. And what kind of energy is it? It's potential energy, right? I have to put that skim milk in something that can release that energy. What do I got? I can't burn it in the car, right? Can infuse grass clippings into it to soak it up. I can put biochar in it. I can put bread in it, which I have a lot of bread. I'm a scrounger, until it is so thick that I can actually scoop it out of there and I could form it into, I'm basically taking it back to dough. And then all that milk is suspended in that. And when I put it in with the pigs, they can retrieve all of that skim milk. None of it's getting dumped on the ground. And if you try to feed skim milk to pigs, I don't know if you've ever tried it, but if you put it in a trough or something, they go wild. They all got to get at the same time. They spill half of it. Right? They make a mess. But this way, it was all gone. Ooh, we got some wind coming up. So anyway, I was on that energy thing for quite a while today. I was on it. So that whole thing cleared. I got everything cleared up. And what we were going to do was we needed to get some things done for tomorrow because we have baby chicks coming tomorrow. So I had to move the brooder to a new spot, do a little cleaning, not much, and just get it ready. So when the chicks come tomorrow, before I leave for the post office, which is 15 minutes away, when I get back, the brooder's warm enough that I can just put them in, fill the waters, and we're done. We're on our next load of chicks. The first load of chicks is out on the field, and we were looking at them today, and man alive, they are going to be chubby by the time our pastured poultry class comes around. Chubby. They're going to be great. Very healthy. We haven't lost any. We lost a couple in the brooder first couple of days, marginal ones. But since we're out in the chicken tractors, no problems at all. Jim's running it this year, and he is stellar. I trained him, and Rachel's done it the last couple of years. She's stellar as well. I don't know as I trained her as well as I did Jim. I trained Jim really well, and he's on it, right? He is on it. So we did that. Then we had to move the goat pergola, or whatever you want to call it, Alcatraz. We got that moved. There was some question as to whether that was going to move easily, and it didn't move as easily. So I'm going to have to make some mods on that to make it an easier move, because I want that thing to last a long time, because I want to have goats forever. Those little buggers got out yesterday. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. And then we moved on to the next thing. The next thing is, those of you who've been here, just east of the house, there's a half acre that's fenced in, hard fenced in. It's got electric around the inside. It's got water to it. It's got a permanent shelter in it. It's just a half pipe. And that is where I keep my sows. And I've had as many as 10 in there on a half an acre, and not a problem so long as you manage it. I only have 5 now, and I'm actually coming down the other side. I'm going to have 4 by the time the dust is settled. And that's about right. That's about right. 4 pigs will give me, let's say, 14 each in the course of the year, times 4. That's all I need. That's all I need. I can sell some, get some cash. The other ones I can put on the grow field. I need them because they dispose of a lot of things, and I like bacon. I like bacon. I like pork chops on the grill. I don't eat as much pig as I have in years past. I'm mostly on beef now, and that does right by me. But our pigs are important because those are the animals that we use for our homestead hog harvest. And it's important for people to be able to harvest hogs, because if you can do that with a little bit more thinking and a little bit more foresight, you can do a beef. Or you can come the other way. If you want to do a goat, no problem after you've done a pig. If you want to do a chipmunk, not a problem. All right. So um, processing animals, they've all got similarities. And it's mostly a head thing that once you've done it, now you own that process. You own it. You don't need someone off farm to do that for you. You can do that yourself. And there's a lot of confidence that comes from that. There's a lot of, I don't know, let's just say confidence. All right. If you extrapolate that confidence out, before you learned how to do that pig, you didn't know how to do it, right? Before you learned how to do it, you didn't know how to do it. And once you've learned to do it, now you can extrapolate that confidence into other things, right? And we've seen this right here. The clerics, I mean, now they're doing beef and all kinds of stuff, and it started with that first process, I think. I don't know if they've done it before that. Maybe they've done deer before or something like that. But anyway, there's a level of confidence there that's really good. So my sow area, we've been on that I rebuilt it about 4 years ago, and we've been on it, and I petition it off. So I am rotationally growing on it, but it has gotten a little ahead of me. There was a lot of manure out there, and it was packing, and I was getting some growth that I wasn't happy with. I was getting Jimson weed, and I don't know why that's happening. But I was getting that, and I decided I got to do something. So I moved the pigs off of that, and I moved into another area to let this rest. And so the plan today was, let's get in there, let's move the shelters out, let's get a bunch of the big rocks out, and then go in and cultivate that. So we did. And, there's a bunch of steps involved to get that done. And so Jim did. He ran the rototiller through there. It's the one that goes on the back of the tractor. And when that packed soil was fluffed up, you could smell a release coming from it. And you just knew that the bacteria that was in there started to activate, because when you walked around out there, you could feel the heat. Well, I don't know if you could feel it. I'm not sure if that was it. There was a rise coming off of it, where when we were out there previous to rototilling it up, it was still. There was no rise coming out of it. And I don't know what that effect is called. I'll just drop it into the intuition category for right now, because I don't really know what that is. But something was happening. It like woke the whole place up. Prior to tilling it, you kind of looked around, and it was smooth. There was a smoothness to it, and it didn't look good. I wouldn't have wanted to go have a picnic out there. Wouldn't even want to walk around out there with my bare feet. And I didn't this morning. When I looked in there, I said, I got to do something about this. Any place there was puddles, there was a lot of algae in the puddles. What does that tell you? I'm not sure, but there's a lot of biological action going out there. And I just knew that we need to do something here. We need to do something. So we tilled it up. And from that point, the notion came, maybe this morning, that, hey, we got a lot of volunteers in our garden, right? The garden for the house, tons of them. You got sunflowers, you got potatoes out the waz coming up out there, and they're this high. And I still have to rototill that, right? And they're spread out. They're not in rows. It's not organized. That will never do. So we said, let's transplant them. Let's just get a wheelbarrow out there, and we'll just do a quick transplant. We'll get them out there. If they make it, they make it. If they don't, they don't. But this soil is fluffy, and I think the potatoes are going to do really good. We also got off from my mother-in-law a box full of seed potatoes They're not fit to eat because they're kind of fluffy. So I mean, you could eat them, but we don't need them. So what are we going to do with them? You know, a big box. Okay, let's make seed potatoes out of them. We'll plant out there, right? If we need potatoes, we can get them. If we don't, the pigs will get them when I put them back on in the fall. No problem. No problem. As a matter of fact, it's a good thing because I need to pull nutrient out of that field. There's a lot of nutrient in that field. You could smell it. It wasn't a harsh smell. It wasn't a pig smell. It was slightly manure-y. Not bad. Not bad. Not composty. I don't know what I can compare it to. It definitely wasn't the Subway smell. Wasn't the low tide smell. You know, that low tide smell. It wasn't that. But I don't think that we've lost any ground out there. I don't. I think we've gained ground. I think all that nutrient, as soon as we get some oxygen into it and some CO2 and some nitrogen into it, with that 2 inches of rain I got last night, man, I think we're taking off. So I have many plans for that field. It's a half acre. I like growing pumpkins. It's just fun. I love to see the great big leaves, and then you kind of looking around, and then it's like the Easter egg hunt. Look at this, you know. Where did this come from? How did this massive thing get here? It's an amazing, magical thing when you go out there and you see that. I like growing daikon radishes. I'm going to do a bunch of them. I like kale. Kale's right there, Beth. Kale and rye. Ooh. You know, maybe I should plant them together. You know, maybe I will. I got some sunchokes, Jerusalem artichokes that I got from Jordan Buck on seed day. He left me about 25 of them. I don't know if I'm going to put them out there or not because I think the pigs will obliterate them. And I like to eat Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes, whatever you want to call them. So I'm not sure I'll put them out there. I might put them someplace else. We got a bunch of corn, you know, sweet corn, and that's super easy to plant. And I don't have to worry about it. I don't need to cultivate it. I'm just going to plant it, let it go. Sort of a chaos garden, but I know we'll pull a lot out of it for the house or maybe other things. Who knows? So super psyched about that project. It just really looks nice. I bet you I walk out there in my bare feet tomorrow. I bet you I'm drawn right to it. So that's that. That's what I did today. I wound up at the biochar area. I did a burn, and I worked on my barnyard compost tea. Because I moved the brooder today, I had about this much manure that I scraped up with the loader, and I filled a feed bag about halfway, knotted it, and dropped that in my tank. I have a black plastic pickle barrel out there, and I'm setting it partially in the sun. I don't want to get too hot, but I do want sun to get to it in the morning. And that is where I started thinking about Homestead Intuition. I touched on this briefly when we were having our presentation about pastured hogs. And someone asked me a question, well, why do you do it that way? And I really had to say, I don't know. I just do it that way. It feels right. And I have no other data to go off of. I just have to use my intuition on it. So the other day I was setting up my barrel to make my compost tea or barnyard kombucha. There's all kinds of nifty names people have given it. You could call it inoculant, right? because my biochar area, I'm making biochar, comes out of the kiln or the retort. It's dry as a bone. Before I can grind it, I have to add some moisture to it. And that moisture, I can put anything I want on it. I could put gasoline on it. I could put rat poison on it. I could put anything on it. But I want something on there that's going to enhance the bacterial growth when I apply that biochar either to the field or it's going to the animals as a feed supplement, as a feed, bacterial gut health supplement for them. So when I was setting the barrel, I thought, well, where am I going to put this? I don't want it in the way. I don't want it too close to retort. Retort gets really hot and the barrel's plastic. I don't want that. I could put it on this side of the thing, but then I got to carry things a long way. I could put it here, be in the full sun all day long. Yeah, that's what I want. But then I thought, no, too hot. There's too much heat. Too much heat in that water could have a deleterious effect on the bacterial growth, right? It could slow it down or stop it. If I have water and I need to drink that water and I got to get all the little creatures out of there before I drink it, I'm going to boil it. Now, I don't know if I'd get to boiling, but sitting in full sun in the summertime, anyway, I just used my intuition and I said, I don't need it that hot. I need it warm, but I don't need it hot. So I picked a place where it's going to get the morning sun. That'll wake things up. And then by the afternoon, the temperature in there can come down. Right? So, and when I got to the point where I said, yes, that's what I'm going to do, something in my being, in my spirit, in my intellect, I don't know, someplace said, yeah, that's definitely, I'm comfortable with that. Very comfortable with that. And when I looked at it again today, as I was loading it, I was like, yeah, I'm glad I did that. Boy, that's the right thing to do. Is if I had put it in full sun, I'd be kind of, I don't know, but I think I'm in the right place right now. Now, I will know in a couple of days, because what I've put in there so far is I put in some skim milk. I put in 10 gallons of skim milk. I put in a sled full of rainwater from last night. And that sled was the sled that I used to catch the biochar when it drops down out of the grinder. And that sled was full because the grinder funnels a lot of water through it and it all drops out into the bottom. I put all that water in it and it was like ink. It was ground biochar, all the stuff that didn't, when I dumped the sled into bags, it didn't dump. So it was the finest of the fines. And how do you manage that? How do you manage it? Now it's suspended in rainwater. It's totally inoculated, and I added it to my barnyard tea. Then I took some chicken manure, like I said, a half a bag full of it. I knotted it and dropped that in there. Tomorrow I'm going to get some compost. I'm going to drop that in there. And then I'm going to get some cow manure that isn't, runny, maybe a little runny. I don't know. I'll know when I get out there. I kind of feel like if I walk out there in bare feet, I will know which one to pick up. Is that crazy? But I feel like I will know. And that's the intuition thing. Like if I say today, well, I don't know whether to use the runny ones or the crusty ones or the ones that are in between. I better call Craig Schaff and ask him. I just threw a wet blanket on my intuition development. I just did that. And I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to go and research things. I'm going to use, well, I shouldn't say that because sometimes I will. I don't know. I'm going to try and use my intuition more than I have been. This is going to be the year of intuition, and I want to develop that. So when I got up this morning, there was another thing that went down. I got up, I walked out, I see 3 dogs sacked out and snoring. This is full, the sun's up. I can look down and I can see the beef cows, and they have heads down. Their heads down. They're just moving. They're mowing. Not mooing, mowing. And so they don't need my help at all. The pond's full. They don't need me. They don't need me for anything. I look at the fence charger and I can see the light. Doop, doop, doop. So I know the fence is good. Okay, I don't even need to go down there. I can look at it from here and I'm good. I'm covered. I don't need to go down there. So calmness. The pigs weren't even out of their house yet. They were still snoozing. When they don't hear us, they are going to catch some Z's. When they hear us, they're like, hey, food could be coming anytime. If they hear the tractor start, they're really on it. So they were quiet. Walked down to the milk house or to the milk parlor, looked through, and I had 6 beautiful women waiting on me there, just waiting, standing there chewing their cud. We want to get milked. In years past, well, last year, the cows didn't come up to get milked all the time. Once in a while they'd be up, but it was an anomaly. This year, every time we've gone out there, they're waiting for us. So what changed? Something changed. I think I know, and that was another intuition thing. When you milk them as a group, they don't want somebody else getting in front of them. I think that's the way it is. They want to come in as a group. When you have to separate them out, you got to go out there with a fiberglass rod and you got to tap them. Come on, let's go. Come on, come on. And then you get them in reluctantly. They stand there, they let you milk them, but they're kind of antsy because their buds are all out waiting. Waiting for what? I don't know. I mean, we had to get behind them when they were out in the fencing complex. You'd have to get behind them and make them all come as a group. And they didn't want to. And then once you got them up into the barnyard, you had to lock the gate or they'd leave. They'd leave on you. And you're making the long walk twice. We called it the long walk. So whoever was milking, the first thing they had to do was they had to grab a fiberglass rod and walk. Because you can't ride anything out there, because anything that you ride, you're going to have to leave. So you can't take a motorcycle or bicycle or anything like that. You had to walk. Not so much a bad thing, but it uses up precious time that we. So intellectually, I cannot tell you why this is working better, but it is. It's working a whole lot better. Having them waiting is great. And then when we turn them out as a group, and there they go out. I opened them up yesterday afternoon. I rode out there to see what the area that they were on looked like. And it looked like somebody took a push mower out there. There wasn't much. So I kind of knew that it was time that I moved them. And so I had to do a little quick fencing, just with temporary fence, step-in posts. I had to do that, and I was doing it right before. It would have been about 6 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Right before it was getting ready, I could see the sky coming my way, and it was green. So I knew something was coming, and I'm out there on my motorcycle, and when I let them into their new area, they just, like in a candy store, and they were out there mowing down on that nice grass that's coming in. And by the time I got back up to the house on my bike, it was coming down good. I got completely soaked. and not a bad thing. But then I got to sit for about an hour, hour and a half while it just tore it up. But it felt great to know that all my grass, every place on the farm was getting a good soaking, 2 inches. And that ensures that I will have plenty of feed for the winter. And so it felt great. Felt great. I came in. By the time I got in, it was 9:15. It stays light pretty late. I fried up a steak, sat down, ate the steak, and I was in bed by 10:30. Delirious after I ate that steak. So good. But when I walk out in the morning, this is the thing. When I walk out in the morning, I don't know how, but if something's not right, I kind of know it. But if everything is going and everybody's where they're supposed to be, you kind of know it too. And I wonder, is it because these dogs are laying down and not doing anything? Is it because I can see those cattle out? Is it because of the fencer? Is it because of this? No, I don't know. I don't think so. Those are just indicators. Because if I was going to tell somebody that, hey, you need to develop your intuition, your homestead intuition, I don't think they're going to develop intuition solely by indicators, like a gauge. Like if in an aircraft, how do you know what's going on in the number one engine? You got gauges to tell you what's going on: oil pressure, RPM, voltage, da 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 da, all that stuff, manifold pressure, all that. So from these gauges that everything's going okay until you look out there and it's on fire, right? That happens. But the gauges and the sound and the vibration and the performance of the airplane will tell you that engine's running good. Okay. If it's a 4 engine or a 2 engine, right? So you do develop this. And I think you have to make what I would do if what I'm saying makes sense to you and you say, hey, I want that. Before you go to sleep tonight, say, how do I develop my intuition as advertised on the Anyone Can Farm Experience Tuesday night show? How do I develop that? Ask that question of yourself. Ask that question. See what happens in the morning. Next day, ask the same question. Now, I don't think I ever did that. I think it's just 20 years of walking out and something's not right. And then, oh no, somebody's not where they're supposed to be. Some stupid cow manured on my desk. That happens. Not in a long time, because I've, fixed those things and I got a better system. I'm always making things better. So when I, see a situation and then, okay, what's the solution for that? Which would be called the disposition that situation. And then my solution, what I'm going to do, I've gotten better at those solutions because I didn't know how to do this when I started. I thought I did. So yeah, that's it. That's my subject today, that I wish everybody had the intuition that I've developed. And I think it's a very useful tool. And I wonder if I was really strapped, because let's say the farm wasn't going good, and I'm just getting it there, and I have the choice between buying some new tools, let's say, and buying some good quality food. And I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna buy these tools, and I'm gonna eat top ramen. That's the best I can do. That's what I got to do. Um, that decision, that's a sacrifice. I'm wondering if that costs you, because let's say that I want to put fuel in my tank of whatever I'm going to run, and I have the choice between this fuel, which is expensive, and this fuel over here that isn't expensive. It'll run, but it's not going to be running 100%. I'm going to burn more of it, and there's always the possibility that it's going to, uh, damage my equipment. Maybe. I kind of wonder if that's not happening to me. I kind of wonder, because I went on the carnivore diet several years ago. Huge difference in this machine that my spirit is housed in. Huge difference. And I learned that the fuel that you put in is directly proportional to the performance that you get. Right? The fuel that I put in my tractor, same thing. The fuel that I put in my car, our car burns really good, burns cheap gas real good. So I don't put premium in it. But things like that. If you buy quality tools, the handles don't break off, things like that. So I wonder, as time goes on in your homestead, in your plan, you're able to say, I'm going to put better fuel in this. I'm going to put better fuel in those kids. I'm going to learn about nutrition. I'm going to learn about what burns good in this tank. And as this changes, maybe you can go back to some of the things that you were eating that weren't really getting digested very well. Maybe you can. I seemed to do okay this weekend, and I had a hamburger and fries, and it was delightful. And then I had fried shrimp. It was good. It looked good on the plate. It smelled good. Kind of tasted good. But I didn't do that well on that. I don't think I'd do that again. Because who knows what they cook it in. So, but it looked good on the menu, and it was, I was splurging, right? I probably would have been better off with another hamburger. So that's something to be cognizant of. And when you put good fuel in there, I think the brain fog goes away, and I think you're stopping the blockage to your intuition. Intuition has a lot to do with creativity, right? I lit the retort off today, and I'm sitting there watching it burn. I had to move back to about 10 feet because it gets so hot. And I'm thinking, look at all this energy I'm releasing. What could I do with that? And all of a sudden, all these ideas started to flood in. And there's a lot there. There's a lot there. For now, I'm making biochar because that was what really, it's a super fuel for my soil. And it changes the environment, walk and eat. So my intuition is telling me, keep going with that. Get this place covered with it, and then cover it again. That's what my intuition is telling me. I could show you evidence here on this farm, like really good evidence. You'd have to just take my word for it, what it looked like before. But I know I have the snapshots in my brain, what it looked like before and what it looks like now. And it is night and day. And I don't know how we would have increased the fertilities that were just, not growing anything. That lichen, lichen was growing on the lawn, what is now nice plush lawn, which is supposedly for organic growers. It's kind of decadence. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I think that's a bunch of baloney. I mean, I have healthy trees growing here. I have nothing to do with that. I don't feed them, but I trim them. And because I trim them, that's decadent? No, I'm taking care of them. I'm cutting off the dead branches and, I'm taking and thinning them. That's stewardship. My lawn, which is the carpet that surrounds our house that we walk on, my kids play on, the dogs poop on, is an integral part of this facility that I live in. Darn right, I'm going to mow the lawn. Am I wasting anything? No, that gasoline that I'm using in that machine that I'm using, I'm harvesting that lawn. And I've made videos about this. You guys know I do this. There's part of me that says, oh, that is kind of, that's just for show. But not anymore. If I'm harvesting that grass and that grass is getting mixed with skim milk and biochar and bread, and it goes to my pigs, and then they create quality pork out of it, I'm not mowing the lawns. I'm harvesting the lawns, and I get great joy out of doing that. So anyway, that's what I got. Let me see what I got here. Okay, Jack's saying, just been busy as a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. All right. The cleric saying, it was a great event, great opportunity to learn a lot, especially if you are a beginner. But Tribe Day is more intimate, maybe more advanced too. Yeah, I would say that. And I would say, with that in mind, we want to service everybody. We want to have some beginner stuff, and we definitely want to have some more advanced stuff. Maybe we'll have a magic show. Chris here, watching from rural central Arkansas. I know it's Arkansas. Welcome. Homeschooling mom. Right on. Homeschooling moms, like if you're I kind of am. I mean, I don't have the job title or anything, but because I say I am, I am. I'm a human resources director. There is a ton of potential energy in the homeschool mom because they wind up in very do or die situations as homeschool moms, right? Once you're in it, you're in it. It's sink or swim. I know one homeschool mom that dropped it and put her kids in school, and they did it a year, and then they went back. And we were so glad they did. We were so glad they did because the schools are a mess. But there's a ton of potential energy in the homeschool mother. So when their kids are out, when their duty is somewhat complete, then hey, start up a homesteading conference. Because Chris, if you are not still loaded down with kids, you could call Mina Postman, and she would tell you all about what she did or what she needed to do to accomplish the Mitten Homestead Conference, right? Beth says, there were a lot of men. I haven't been to other events to compare, though. All right. Well, Tom was there. The ghost is with us. Have you changed timelines again? I bet you I know what happened to Jack Russell. I bet you he's an interdimensional dimensional being, and he's just been in a different dimension for a little while. So now that you're back, were you in the future or the past? Or is there something else we don't know? Enlighten us. There is no, Bear Up Farm says there is no more, how about not squinting? There is no more satisfying working on your homestead and see your accomplishments and feeling great doing it. You got that right, man. You got that right. That is my main buzz right now, other than the people that I meet and the books that I read. That is my main buzz. Bear Up saying, I got to buy a milk cow. When I was 10 years old, I was milking, and that was my job morning and night, getting 3 gallons all by hand. That milk was the best, and the butter is awesome. You wonder what that, if you think about it, the butter, you're rendering down, or not rendering, because we're not heating it. We're processing down that milk. The milk by itself is precious, and then we bring it to we cream. We bring it to the cream, and we still have the milk left, and then we bring it to butter, and we have buttermilk left. Like, when you eat that butter, what does that do for you? Like, that's where all the goodness is. Conversely, butter from the store, that's not made from grass-fed butter. I don't care what they say on the label. They say all kinds of stupid stuff on labels. I don't believe it anymore. I don't. Well, the USDA wouldn't let them do that. Oh, really? And if there's impurities, like let's say the milk that comes out of the factory farm north of me, they're milking 3,000 cows around the clock, feeding them corn silage constantly and grain. Those animals were not designed to run on that. They were designed to run on grass. They were designed not to walk on concrete, but they were designed to walk on fields and graze, at least part-time of the year, right? So because they're in that environment, what do those guys have to give those cows that's acceptable per, like FDA and USDA? What do they give them to keep them healthy, living in a concentration camp like that? What do they give them? I don't know. Are they fully disclosing? No. And where do those, if they give them something that's not natural, it becomes an impurity. Where does it wind up? In the fat. And then you're going to render that down into butter. Is the butter going to contain any of that stuff? I wonder. Oh, I'm sure they'd tell us. Oh, yeah, I'm sure they would. Somebody was telling me, oh, I forget who it was. It was just recently. Oh, I get such and such butter. It costs a lot more, but it's bright yellow. I've seen that butter. That does not look anything like the hue of yellow from our milk. Not anything. And our milk is our butter is the pure standard. So they don't put dye in that to fool you. They don't put artificial flavors in there to fool you. I looked at raw milk butter online, and it's pretty consistently $20 a pound. There's no way you can produce it for $20 a pound. There's no way. Only way you could do that is if the milk was 40 cents a pound. And that's conventional milk coming out of the concentration camps. So I don't think so. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to be drinking it anyway. Barn Geek, the milk this week is magnificent. I can really taste the complexities of the pasture. Wow, excellent. Hey, man, it's probably going to get better. And here's why. We just started a daily discipline of each cow when they get their sweet feed. So they get whole kernel grain. They get about a pound each just to entice them in, and it's got molasses on it. But we're putting in, I don't know, about 6 ounces of biochar in it, mixing it up. They scarf it right down. So the biochar is getting deposited all around where they're doing their eating. And I don't know if you've ever seen this. Well, Aaron for sure has, but when cows manure, they don't eat from there at least until the next season. And even sometimes then they don't. And that spot, that manure spot, winds up being a circle depending on the ground that it's in. If it's on sandy ground, it doesn't go too far, but the next time it does. But then those spots start to connect and the growth takes off. It's because of the bacterial load. So if we have biochar that we're actually spreading on the farm via their manure, I mean, we're killing it. We're killing it. I mean, I think that we should put some seed in it too. Okay, Jack's cutting out. Got to run. Good seeing y'all. Be back next stream. Be safe. He's going into a different dimension. That's what he's doing. Don't kid us. Big B, I appreciate the inspiration reminder. Yeah, it's hard work, but we need to stay inspired to harvest our goals. You sure do. Goals are really important. I tell you what, I find that when I'm setting my day up, I kind of the night before when I'm falling asleep, I'll be thinking, well, what am I doing tomorrow? What needs to be done tomorrow? And then when I'm sitting, drinking my coffee, I kind of prioritize things because we're closer to the time of execution. And like yesterday, I found out, oh, I got to milk today because Rachel was gone. She had something going on. And I didn't know until, and that took me up until, I don't know, 10:30 or 11 o'clock. And then it was, I had to do what I had planned to do in the morning later. It was hotter. It was harder, everything. And then we had people coming and going and stuff. So things changed. But if I say, I want to get this done and this done and this done, I set those goals, I can attain them. And usually I'm done with them before the close of business. And it's like, hey, I'm going to do one more thing. I think I'll make some biochar. I finished up a retort that I made for Parker, and I think we're going to bring it over to him tomorrow. I haven't talked to him yet, but like to. And it's just like the one that I have, only it's a different color. And so we're going to take it over there and hopefully do a burn and show him how the thing works and all that. That's going to be our day tomorrow. We do not have a consulting call tomorrow night. Do not. We're every other week on that. I had some ideas about consulting this weekend, and I'm letting them percolate. I'm thinking it through, thinking like, what's the best way to proceed from here? I tell you, there is no way that I can leave here, drive 4 hours, do a consulting on somebody, and then 4 hours back. I can't do that. I cannot leave this place like that. I just can't commit to doing that. So I've been very reluctant to do consulting. And when you do a consulting with somebody and you're looking at a place where they don't have anything yet, it takes a while for things to set in. And I don't know how productive it is for me to hand somebody a plan and say, execute this, see ya. I don't think so. I think it's got to be more of a mentoring process. And I think it has to be here. You see what I have. What do you want? Let's sit at the picnic table and talk about building a plan. Right? Because it's a process, and it's a long process too. It's like, well, I'm going to have a family. There's a lot of time involved, and you don't want to build things into your system, because homesteading is a conglomeration of systems that you bring together. When I wake up in the morning and walk out and everything's fine, that means all the balls that I'm juggling are up. Nothing's on the ground. Hey, I could sit here and drink 2 cups of coffee. I don't want to. I mean, I really want to get after it, but and I really want to. I'm not like white knuckling this, like I better get after it. That does happen too. That was last night moving those cows. I was white knuckling it because I could see that storm rolling in, and there was a good chance that I was going to be out in it, and I did not want to be. All right, let's call it a night. A little heartwarming story. I was in touch with Mina the day after the Homestead conference via Facebook, right? She was putting something out there, not necessarily to me, but yeah, it got me too. And her milk cow calved that evening, that night after the conference, I guess. And they named the calf Mitten. So that's a good little story there. I don't know if it was a heifer calf. I don't know. I don't remember that part of it. But the part that I do remember very well was when we were talking with Mina and Tiffany before we left. It was the end. We'd had our panel discussion. Everybody was kind of milling around, talking, and we had to drive, and we had to get back to the farm. So we had to go. And I said to her, yeah, tomorrow's going to be a rough day for you. You're going to have a fun hangover. And we've done a number of events like this, and the adrenaline is running high. And then the next day, you just crash. That's what happens to us. Doesn't happen to me as much as it used to because I know what's coming, and I just schedule stuff to fill it in. You know, I've been gone for a couple of days. There's things I need to do. Okay, but that was a heartwarming story. I could hear music playing. All right, I'm going to go.